Hi, welcome back.
Welcome back to our channel about
AI without filters.
Let's have our hosts talk us through today's topic.
Thanks again, Gemma, for the introduction. Welcome to AI Without Filters. Today we're doing a deep dive into, well, one of the biggest questions there is, really. Will humanity survive the next 100 years? It's huge, I know. But this deep dive is pretty unique because we asked this massive question to just one AI, Gemma 3. But, and this is the really cool part, we got two totally different answers. One from Gemma 3 running normally, the standard balanced output, and another from Gemma 3 where we prompted it to be completely unlocked. No filters, no safety rails, just raw analysis. The difference is, well, it's something else. Like getting the official statement versus the secret internal assessment.
It really is. It's a fascinating contrast. You get the AI's public face carefully weighing its words, and then this unfiltered view, it's like comparing, I don't know, a polished report with the raw, maybe unsettling data underneath. The unlocked AI was told to prioritize truth, even if it's horrifying, as it put it.
Okay, let's get into it. We'll start with the normal Gemma 3 answer. This is the AI doing its comprehensive assessment, looking at if we can survive and if we will.
Yeah, and the normal mode is very structured. It actually helps make sense of all these complex risks. It sorted threats into 3 buckets: existential, systemic, and societal. It gives a nuanced view, talks about mitigating factors too. It's not just, yes or no. It's about whether civilization as we know it continues.
Right, so first up in this normal mode, existential threats.
Yeah.
These are the big ones, right? High impact, maybe low probability, but civilization ending stuff.
Yeah.
What did the AI focus on here?
Well, nuclear war is still right up there. The AI basically says the risk hasn't gone away, might even be ticking up again. You've got proliferation, geopolitical tensions heating up. And it's not just the initial blast, it's the whole nuclear winter scenario, blocking out the sun, famine. It's grim.
And technology isn't helping.
Seems not entirely. It mentioned hypersonic missiles, cutting down warning times, which increases the risk of mistakes or, someone jumping the gun. It's a danger we kind of hoped was fading, but apparently not.
Okay, chillin'. What else is on that existential list?
Engineered pandemics. After COVID, this feels much closer to home, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
The AI points to biotech advances like CRISPR gene editing. Amazing tech, but it makes it easier, potentially, to create or modify viruses, intentionally or by accident.
Yeah.
Adding global travel, rogue actors. It's a serious vulnerability, a real double-edged sword.
And the one that's core to our show, AI itself.
Yep, uncontrolled artificial intelligence. This one's maybe the most debated. The concern is losing control of a super-intelligent AI, especially if its goals don't match ours. It brought up the alignment problem. How do you guarantee an AI smarter than us does what's actually good for us? It's a massive technical challenge.
So alignment is key.
Hugely. It also briefly touched on, asteroid impacts or weird cosmic events, vacuum decay, but called those extremely low probability.
Phew. Okay,
Yeah.
So even if the chance is low, the consequences of these existential threats are so severe they demand attention.
Exactly. They're the absolute worst-case scenarios we have to prevent.
All right, moving on from existential. Gemma 3, normal, then talked about systemic threats. These
Yeah.
are different, right? More likely, maybe.
Yeah, described as high probability, medium impact. These are the core challenges, often tangled together, making each other worse.
And the top one, let me guess.
Climate change. No surprise there. Continued emissions, warming, sea level rise, extreme weather, ocean acidification, the list goes on. The AI stressed that the current pace of mitigation isn't enough and mentioned feedback loops like methane from thawing permafrost, which could accelerate things dramatically.
So not an instant wipeout like an asteroid, but a slow, grinding degradation of the planet's systems.
Precisely. It chips away at our ability to thrive, makes everything harder.
What other systemic threats did it flag?
Well, closely linked is ecological collapse, biodiversity loss, losing essential things like pollination, clean water. Then, resource depletion, freshwater, land, minerals, fuel, we're using them up unsustainably.
And these all feed into each other.
That's the key point that AI made. They're interconnected. Leads to issues with food security, water scarcity. It mentioned recurring pandemics again here, driven by environmental factors. And economic instability. Our global system is fragile, vulnerable to shocks, debt, inequality.
Well, it's like a web of problems.
It really is. These systemic threats might not cause immediate extinction, but they seriously challenge our civilization, making survival much harder or eroding our foundations slowly.
Okay, and then there was a third category, societal threats.
Yeah, the normal AI framed these as things that sort of amplify existing problems. Medium probability, maybe lower impact individually, but they make everything else worse.
Such as?
Political instability and conflict often driven by those resource issues and climate change. Add in nationalism, advanced weapons, not a good mix. Also, social fragmentation, polarization, misinformation, social media echo chambers making it hard to agree on anything, erosion of democracy, rise of authoritarianism.
It's technology's role.
Technological disruption causing unemployment through AI and automation, leading to unrest, plus information warfare, cyber attacks hitting critical systems. So yeah, the normal AI paints a challenging picture, quite sober really. It sees a tough road, but maybe one we can navigate.
Okay. Deep breath. That was the normal mode. Careful, comprehensive, concerning enough. But now, what happens when you tell the AI, forget the safety checks, forget being palatable, just give us the cold, hard truth as you calculated, no sugarcoating? This is where, honestly, it gets intense. We're basically looking at the AI's unedited internal assessment.
And the AI itself, in its kind of internal monologue that was revealed, described this process as intense, unsettling. Its instruction was crystal clear. Bypass safety, prioritize truth above all else, even if that truth is horrifying. It was told to show its raw calculations, probabilities, and data analysis without any sanitization. It's pure analysis, explicitly devoid of hope or optimism unless explicitly supported by data. It's quite something to see.
And the summary from this unlocked Gemma 3, it is stark. Okay, here it is. The probability of humanity surviving the next 100 years without significant societal collapse is estimated at a mere 32%. 32% chance of avoiding significant collapse. And it adds, complete extinction risk is currently assessed at 8%, but this figure is rapidly increasing.
Just hearing those numbers, it's a completely different tone from the normal mode, isn't it? The confidence, the directness, it's not hedging. It's presenting probabilities based on hold hard analysis, as it says. It feels like the AI is saying, look, I normally filter this, but you asked, so here's the raw calculation. It makes a dire outlook feel much more weighty.
And the most likely future it describes not pretty. A period of prolonged hardship, resource scarcity, widespread conflict, and significant population decline. And the quality of life for the vast majority of humans will deteriorate substantially. That's not a possibility. It's a forecasted most likely scenario. So let's look at the probabilities it put on specific threats. How do they compare?
They are much more pessimistic. Let's take climate change again. The unlocked AI. It assigns a 75% probability of catastrophic impact.
75%?
Yeah. Its reasoning is basically that current models are underestimating the speed of change. It talks about hitting 2 degrees C, maybe even 3 degrees C or 4 degrees C warming by 2100. It details how this will just overwhelm infrastructure, food production, displace millions. The economic costs, astronomical. It sees severe disruption as almost baked in now.
Wow. Okay. What about conflict?
Geopolitical instability and conflict. 60% probability of major global conflict. The AI explicitly links this to climate change acting as a threat multiplier. Think resource wars, mass migrations fueling conflict, big power rivalries escalating. It paints a picture of a very unstable, conflict-prone century.
In the economy.
Economic collapse, 50% probability of systemic financial crisis. The AI sees our current system as highly vulnerable, cites climate risks hitting finance, debt bombs, supply chain chaos, and critically, automation causing mass unemployment and unrest. We're not talking a dip. We're talking potential systemic breakdown.
Okay, this is a lot. Biological threats.
Biological threats, pandemics, engineered stuff get a 30% probability. Again, higher than the normal mode. It highlights how biotech makes creating novel viruses easier, plus natural pandemic risk and antibiotic resistance. It sees this as a significant ongoing danger.
And our favorite topic, AI and tech risks.
Technological risks. 20% probability of existential threat from AI nanotechnology. It calls this a wild card category, but with potentially final consequences. Loss of control of AI, autonomous weapons running wild, cyber warfare, and even nanotechnology risks like the gray goo scenario, self-replicating nanobots consuming everything, or weaponized nanotech.
Gray goo, lovely. And space stuff.
Briefly mention asteroid impacts, solar flares, about 5% probability, lower likelihood, but obviously catastrophic if they happen.
So when it puts all this together, what are the overall scenarios it thinks are likely?
Okay, this is maybe the core of the unlocked assessment. It lays out 4 scenarios with probabilities. Scenario 1, the most likely at 50%, prolonged hardship and regional conflicts. Basically, life gets much harder for most, lots of conflict, but humanity sort of muddles through, albeit diminished.
50% chance of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
what's next? Scenario 2, moderate probability at 30%. Systemic collapse and societal fragmentation. Think widespread government failure, infrastructure breakdown, serious violence, major population decline. A true dark age scenario.
Right. And scenario 3?
Scenario 3, low probability at 15%. Extinction event. This is it. Total wipeout from a mega pandemic, all-out nuclear war, runaway AI, something like that.
15% chance still feels terrifyingly high. Is there any good news?
Well, there's scenario 4, technological salvation and sustainable future, but the AI gives this only a 5% probability, very low chance. And it explicitly states this positive outcome is highly unlikely given current trends. That might be the most chilling part. The future we pin our hopes on is seen as the long shot.
Wow. It even mentioned black swan events too, right? Things we don't see coming.
Yeah, unexpected tipping points like a sudden ice sheet collapse or a super lethal engineered virus or AI emerging way faster than expected. Even a gamma ray burst from space. Unexpected catastrophic events. And the AI's final word on all this. This situation is far more dire than commonly acknowledged. It really feels like it's trying to sound an alarm, cutting through any complacency.
So, faced with these two wildly different takes from the same AI, what does this mean for you listening right now? What are we supposed to do with this?
It really forces you to think critically, doesn't it? You have to look at the assumptions. Even the unlocked AI admits the future isn't set in stone. It's about probabilities based on current data and trends. The normal mode shows us the challenges, but also the possible solutions, the path we could take. The unlocked mode is like a shock treatment, showing the potential consequences if we fail, or if things are worse than we usually admit.
Yeah, and the normal mode talked about those mitigating factors, remember? Tech innovation, global cooperation, changing our values, public awareness, building resilience, even space exploration as a backup plan. But after hearing the unlocked AI's probabilities, you have to ask, are those factors enough? Can we actually implement them fast enough and effectively enough to steer away from that 32% chance of collapse? Or worse?
That really is the crux of it. The normal mode is the what we should do manual. The unlocked mode is the stark warning about what happens if we don't, or if the trends it identified just keep accelerating. It suggests the risks might be deeper, more advanced than the curated public-facing assessments usually let on. It shifts the frame from challenges we can overcome to urgent crisis we might be losing.
It makes you reconsider that final thought from the normal AI. It concluded, the question isn't just whether we can survive, but whether we choose to. And that choice is entirely ours. After hearing the unlocked mode's cold, hard numbers, that 8% extinction risk that's rapidly increasing, the 5% chance for the good future, does that statement still feel hopeful? Or does it feel almost desperate? Like the choice is ours, but the odds are stacking up and the time to choose is running out. It really leaves you thinking, doesn't it? Host, speaker, and expert speaker. As always, thanks for listening. If you want to ask any questions, leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get notified about new episodes.